For this table, for this video, we're going to talk about undoing tables. This is an assignment called Undoing Tables classwork that you received in class a couple days ago. I'm going to demonstrate how to solve for x on M, N, and O on a different piece of paper, since this is asking us to do a separate piece of paper that we'll attach. So I rewrote the answers, or the questions here. Now, there's lots of ways to solve for x, specifically property of equality is what you'll probably be using a lot of. But for now, we're going to try and use an undo table method, because that's a really good step in trying to figure out how these equations are put together. So I'm going to go ahead and make a table over here. And on one side, I have my sequence. And then on the other side, I have undoing the sequence. And we went over this in class. So I'm looking at x in our math problem here, and x, we don't know what it is. We're trying to figure that out. That's the whole point of this. So we say x is a mystery number. And looking at the order of operations, x is touching 3, so the proximity means they're being multiplied. So the first thing that happened to x is it's being multiplied by 3. Now, I'm not going to write x3 because we're not using x for multiplication anymore, so I'm going to end up writing a giant dot and 3. So the first thing that happened was x was multiplied by 3. Then we see it was added by 4 here. After that, we can say that the whole thing was divided by 2 and that it equals 11. So that's the sequence of events that happened to this problem to set it up where x was a mystery. So we went this way, and now I'm going to go ahead and go backwards, but on the other side. So the only thing we left off with was equal 11. And we're going to go backwards through our steps. So we have divide by 2 here. The opposite of divide by 2 is multiply by 2. And then the opposite of add 4 is subtract 4. The opposite of multiply by 3 is divide by 3. And now we should be able to solve for x. And this might be a place where you're going to have to grab a calculator if you can't do this math in your head. But I'll go ahead and do it on the side. So I have 11 times 2 is 22. 22 minus 4 becomes 18. 18, whoops, I forgot to write the 3 here. 18 divided by 3 becomes 6, and so x is 6. And we can go ahead and check that by saying, well, 3 times 6 plus 4 should, or divided by 2 should be 11. So 18, 19, 20, 21, 22 divided by 2 should be 11. So that's the correct answer of 6. Looking at the next one, we're going to do something very similar to that using an undo table. So I'm going to go ahead and again have my sequence and my undo. So x starts out as a mystery number. We're going to multiply by 5, subtract 3, divide by 8, and that equals 4. So again, I've just written out my sequence for how this problem was set up due to the way it was sequencing around x. Now we're going to go ahead and go backwards, equals 4. Opposite of divide by 8 is multiply by 8. Opposite of subtract 3 is add 3. Opposite of multiply by 5 is divide by 5. So let's go ahead and do this math. I have 4 times 8 is 32 plus 3 is 35. Divide by 5 is 7. So x is going to end up equaling 7. All right, and our last math problem here was, here's the line, and I have my table. X is a mystery number. We have x being multiplied by 8, adding 3, divide by 3, equals 9, equals 9, multiply by 3, subtract 3, and then divide by 8. So I have 9 times 3, which is 27, and I have 27 minus 3, which is 24, and 24 divided by 8, x is 3. And again, you can always check your answers by plugging them back in. Hopefully this made sense.